And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. End times prophecy, Middle East war. As always, I'm with Rick. Rick, how are you?
Cold.
Cold. We live in Chicago. We are cold.
Other than that, warm heart, cold body. But
yeah, we it's not really not much. Excuse me, not really much going on in the news, but there are some things behind the scenes. So what we'll do is we'll do our, as usual, our updates. Excuse me, and then we will turn to a clip, something that's in the news with Kirk Cameron. He's saying that the church has replaced Israel. We'll play his clip, and then we will look at the scriptures and show where Kirk Cameron doesn't know what he's talking about. Love him. Hope he continues to preach the gospel, but on this issue, he is gone. He doesn't know what he's talking about, per se. All right. First video, Rick. What is this one? Do we know what the first video is? Update.
Hamas isn't going anywhere. We know that.
That was the linchpin to the whole thing.
Yeah. The second part of the peace treaty is Hamas has to lay down their arms and leave. And so...
which we said at the beginning was not going to happen.
And so they're going to try and force the issue here by not enforcing the issue.
Who's going to force the issue?
Well, we'll see in the video.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Here we go. Here it is.
So the Qatari Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, the host of the conference, said on Saturday, quote, negotiations on consolidating the U.S.-backed truce in the war in Gaza are at a critical moment. Mediators are working to force the next phase of the ceasefire forward. He went on to say that, quote, we cannot consider it yet a ceasefire. A ceasefire cannot be completed unless there is a full withdrawal of the Israeli forces. So here he's saying that we want to force the next phase and that the Israeli forces need to withdraw. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelhadi struck a similar tone. He said, quote, as for the International Stabilization Force, we need to deploy this force as soon as possible on the ground because one party, which is Israel, is every day violating the ceasefire and claiming that the other side is violating it, so we need monitors. In other words, his interpretation of the International Stabilization Force is that they need to get on the ground to stop the Israelis from attacking the other side of the yellow line. Abdelhadi went on to say that Egypt wants the International Stabilization Force to deploy along the yellow line. That's the line that Israel withdrew to at the start of the ceasefire on October 10th. The line of deployment appears to be the growing consensus among stakeholders, says Reuters, as countries are not willing to permanently station their troops inside what has become known as the Red Zone, the western coastal side of Gaza, under de facto Hamas control. So what the Egyptian foreign minister is basically saying is that the International Stabilization Force is not going to even go into the Hamas-controlled area, and it's simply going to deploy along the border between the Hamas-controlled area and the IDF-controlled area to stop the Israelis from attacking the other side.
Did not Trump say in a press conference either they will disarm or we will disarm them?
Yes, he did.
Multiple times. He is not following through. This is the same old. This is garbage. Trump, come on, man. People are not stupid. You said, and this was part of the peace treaty, Hamas has to disarm. We said it from the very beginning, Rick. Everybody knew it. This was the sticking point. That Hamas agreed to lay down their arms, and then shortly after they quote-unquote signed, Hamas says, we never agreed to that.
Right, exactly.
They said it flat out. Trump said they're going to disarm, or we're going to disarm them. Really, Trump? Well, do what you said, Trump.
If Israel couldn't disarm them in 2 years and millions of tons of explosives.
They could have. They didn't have the will to do it. Stop all food, stop all electricity,
right.
Stop all
They wouldn't have
water.
to use any bombs.
This would have gone on maybe 6 months at the most.
Right.
Maybe 6 months. But how are you going to bring in humanitarian food to an area that's under siege? You basically destroy the whole point of the siege in the first place.
Right.
So we know it. We know it. And Trump.
And he's just digging his heels in.
Who is?
Trump.
What is he saying?
Yeah, well, he's not. He's going along with all of this.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's going along with the Qataris and stuff, saying they're going to put troops along this line?
He's not. I don't hear him saying anything that Netanyahu said Turkey and Qatar are not going to come into Israel.
No,
they are not going to be part of the international stabilization force.
No.
And
no.
But Trump's still trying to convince them to do it.
Trump, yeah, he is messing up bad. He's messing up bad. All right, here's our next update. Here we go.
Despite the Palestinian Authority being the recipient of massive amounts of aid from many foreign countries over the years, despite receiving a lot of services for free from Israel, like utilities and such, the PA is on the verge of financial collapse. I mean, the money for, Abbas and his cohort's luxurious lives has to come from somewhere, and God forbid the Palestinians should ever have to pay any kind of real taxes. Apparently, Israel's finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, has blocked the transfer of revenue that Israel collects on Palestinian imports from being transferred to the PA because Abbas is refusing to halt his pay-for-slay program where they pay terrorists who murder Jews thousands of dollars while in Israeli prisons. And so instead of halting the program, Abbas has now increased it, making many terrorist millionaires over the last couple of years. So Israel is freezing the transfer of those dollars in response. So to keep the Palestinian government afloat, Saudi Arabia is now giving $90 million to be handed over at the Saudi embassy in Amman to keep basic services running in Judea and Samaria. This is kind of crazy considering that the Saudis are in talks right now to possibly join the Abraham Accords with Israel. And the reason the PA is in financial collapse is because they refuse to stop their pay-for-slay program. Meaning, in a way, Saudi dollars are directly going towards the payments given for the murder of Jews, which is kind of wild.
This is crazy. This has to be spiritually driven because this is foolishness. How Saudi Arabia steps in and gives them money because they refuse to stop the pay for slave. The moral clarity is gone, Rick. That's what's going on.
Well, the whole October 7th thing by Hamas was because Saudi Arabia was getting ready to sign and join the Abraham Accord. And that's the linchpin to the Abraham Accord. If Saudi Arabia joins, then all these other nations are going to join. But Hamas said we did this to stop Saudi Arabia from joining the Abraham Accord. And it looks like it's worked. Looked like it worked. And now for them to be paying the Palestinians for...
literally, stop the pay for slave program. Just stop it. Nope, not going to do it. Well, then you're at war. You know what? With any moral clarity, then kick them out of West Bank. Kick them out.
Yep.
You refuse to give families money to come and blow themselves up and blow our citizens up. This is something that's on the books and open, and you refuse to stop it. Then throw them in jail. Throw every last one of them in jail. Kick them out the land. That's moral clarity. See, this is so foolish. This is so foolish. It has to be spiritual. It has to be.
It's all upside down.
It has to be spiritual, because anyone with a normal brain can see this is crazy. All right.
So the next, people don't realize this, but Israel is on the front line for research and development on defense weapons and weapons of war, and this is a huge deal from Germany, a huge billion defense deal that Germany has made with Israel.
Here we go.
This comes as Israel just finished the installation yesterday of an Arrow 3 long-range missile system in Germany at an airbase south of Berlin in fulfillment of a $4.6 billion sale. That's the largest defense export deal in Israel's history. The agreement was originally signed back in September of 2023, and export and installation has been ongoing ever since. This is the first time that this missile defense system has been used by another country other than Israel. And this is definitely a historic moment. Israel's Defense Ministry Director Amir Bahram and other Israeli officials attended the opening ceremony, along with high-ranking German military officials. Bahram said in a statement at the ceremony, quote, "As a second-generation Holocaust survivor, I stand here deeply moved because a ballistic missile defense system developed by the finest Jewish minds in Israel's aerospace industry out of our existential necessity will now help defend Germany. We Israelis, descendants of Holocaust survivors, want to see Germany strong and prosperous, proud and leading in Europe and throughout the world. Today's handover marks only the beginning for Israel and Germany. Our cooperation will strengthen and deepen, whether in the air, on land, or in space." It's kind of a ray of hope in these crazy times to see something like this happen. Just a few decades after the Holocaust, to see an established nation of Israel providing advanced weapons for the defense of the German nation that tried to destroy them as a people. It's really just wild. It's also fantastic that Israel is now becoming one of the world's leading exporters of advanced military equipment, leading the world in R&D for advanced programs. Just last year in 2024, Israel exported almost $15 billion worth of military equipment.
That makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because Israel's been at war. The only country that's been at war
in their existence.
They've had lots of practice.
Lots of practice.
Which is sad.
And it's nice to see a European country stand for Israel. And
have they stood for Israel? I mean,
to do business with Israel,
Yeah.
give them a $5 billion defense contract.
you know how, but you see how Germany is the same country that says they want to push Netanyahu out of Ukraine. You know, the EU's, we've got to stop. Putin's the bad guy. He's a big boogeyman in Europe. Yet on the next day they buy all the oil from Russia. They're crazy.
Well, I think Trump's trying to get them to stop that. But
why does Trump have to? They're the one that's crying out, Putin's the evil. Sell it the oil. We'll buy your oil. We'll buy your oil.
I know.
It's just I think the governments collectively have lost their minds, and I think God is laying the groundwork for him to come and take over, because he's revealing the absurdity of human governments. It's absurd. It's really absurd. All right, here's the last one. We're running a little long. Here's the last clip for the day.
The real reason Trump summoned Netanyahu.
Real reason he summoned Netanyahu. Here we go.
Trump is pressuring Netanyahu to allow Turkish troops into the Gaza Strip to be part of the International Stabilization Force. And it's also been reported recently that the Turks are actually hoping that President Trump can convince Prime Minister Netanyahu to allow them in. And it's really interesting that Turkey wants to be part of this, is eager to be part of the International Stabilization Force in Gaza, while all the recent reports are that most of the other nations who originally committed to being part of it are trying to back out and get out of the whole ISF. We saw recently that King Abdullah of Jordan was being very hesitant and saying that maybe Jordan won't be part of it at all, and maybe we'll only have a kind of training and advisory role. The Indonesians and the Pakistanis are also hemming and hawing, and they're not sure if they want to be part of it, and yet Turkey is so eager to be involved. Now, why are these other nations backing out of the ISF? What are the reasons they give? So one of them, of course, what they say publicly is that they don't want to confront Hamas. But what has been less reported, but is perhaps even a more important reason they don't want to be involved, is that the prominent involvement of the Qataris and the Turks in the plans, in the U.S. plans for the Gaza Strip, is scaring them away. You see, let's just review. The Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization according to Saudi Arabian law, also in the United Arab Emirates and Jordan and Egypt and other moderate Arab nations. The Muslim Brotherhood is declared a terrorist organization, and the Muslim Brotherhood is housed and funded by Turkey and Qatar. Turkey and Qatar are essentially Muslim Brotherhood nations. So there has long been tension in the Middle East between the Saudis and the Emiratis, the moderate Arab states that want peaceful engagement with the West, and the Turks and the Qataris. This almost came to an actual kinetic shooting war back in 2017. There was an extended blockade of Qatar by the Saudis and its partners because of Qatar's support for the Muslim Brotherhood and its support for other terrorist organizations. So there's this ongoing tension between this Turkey-Qatar partnership and the moderate Arab states. The moderate Arab states see that the Qataris and the Turks are ostensibly going to be involved in what goes on in the Gaza Strip, in the reconstruction, or in the International Stabilization Force, and they want no part of it because they don't want to cooperate with Turkey and Qatar. Now, why does...
All right.
Fox is in the hen house.
Yeah, again, that doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense.
I think Trump is messing this up bad. He's messing it up terrible. Yeah, it seems like he's more concerned about the optics of peace than peace itself. He talks bad about Hamas, but he also doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything about it.
So
Talk is cheap.
yeah. All right. Switching now to our spiritual topic. I think this is the first time we're going to actually play a video to introduce our spiritual topic: Israel and the church. Who's Israel? Has the church replaced them? Tucker Carlson has switched from a news anchor to a theological juggernaut in his mind.
What a joke.
So now he is going after Israel, and he brings on his buddy now, Kirk Cameron, who explains to us that Ted Cruz was wrong. Let me play the video, and then we'll have some reaction afterwards. Here we go.
We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. I know the verse that Tucker Carlson is talking about in Genesis actually doesn't say Israel. It says that those who bless you, Abraham, this was before Israel, will be blessed by God, and those who curse you, Abraham, will be cursed by God. Jesus demystifies who the children of Abraham actually are, and Paul absolutely clarifies it. For not all who are born into the nation of Israel are truly members of God's people. Well, that sounds like it contradicts what Ted Cruz just said. Being descendants of Abraham doesn't make them truly Abraham's children. It sounds like he's saying not all of Israel is really Israel just because they're Jewish. Israel didn't have a nation or a land to call their own for almost 2,000 years since the destruction of the temple in the year 70 AD. The nation of Israel was recreated through some political operatives after World War II. So in that almost 2,000 year period, what did it even mean to bless Israel or to curse Israel? There was no Israel per se. I think the scripture makes it clear that it's about whether you're blessing or cursing the true children of Abraham, those who believe the promises of the gospel.
All right. He's wrong. Let me just put it to you that the nation of Israel, or Israel, the children of Israel, was around even before they invaded Canaan. Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, were a people who came out of Egypt, went into Canaan, conquered Canaan, and then was attached to the land until 70 AD, in which they were eradicated. Still had the people of Israel. They came back into the land in 1948, took over Jerusalem in 1967. So even if they did not have the land per se, don't tell me the people or the nation of Israel didn't exist. They did. Of course they did. And so here's the big controversial, it's not controversial, but here's the famous passage that's talked about. And by the way, that clip we just showed with Kirk Cameron is making the rounds. It's all over because I guess the culture thinks that they have quote unquote a celebrity to say it that lends some authenticity to the notion that Israel is not
should-
really God's people.
And Israel should not exist.
It should not. Israel doesn't exist. He doesn't. The church somehow has replaced it. Here's the famous passage in Genesis 12:2. It says, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Within the context of Genesis 12:2 and 3, does he mention Israel first? Or the nation for it's the nation. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. So even if he says the you, it was Abraham. The you, what's the antecedent to you? It's not Abraham. It's the nation in which he's going to make Abraham into. The antecedent of you is, I believe, is nation. And I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and I'll curse those who curse you. So you could try to separate Abraham from the nation in this. You can try. Not going to work. Now, as far as he's saying that not all Israel is Israel, Paul, the apostle, as he is writing to the church in Rome, he says this: "I have great sorrow and unceasing anguish in my heart, for I could wish that I myself were accursed and cut off from Christ for the sake of my people, those of my own race." Okay? Paul's better than I am, because I'm not going to hell for anybody, Rick. That's too long for me to go. I'm not doing that. And you don't have to do it, because the whole race, everyone has that opportunity to do so. But if you rebel in your heart against. But here in Romans 9, the context in which Kirk Cameron is saying not all Israel is Israel, Paul is recognizing the nation of Israel as a people. And he's recognized his race, or the people of Israel, right alongside the church. The church does not replace the nation of Israel. They're two separate entities. Both entities, both Jew and Gentile, can come to the saving knowledge of who Christ is and be part of the church, the New Testament church. But the church at no point negates or replaces the nation of Israel. Again, in Romans, he says this: "Brothers and sisters, my heart's desire and prayer to God for the Israelites is that they may be saved. For I can testify about them that they are zealous for God, but their zeal is not based on knowledge." Again, he's identifying the Israelites apart from the church, hoping that they become part of the church, i.e. be saved. So again, in Paul's mind, Kirk Cameron claims, well, I think Paul demystifies. There's no mystery, Kurt. Israel and the church are two separate entities. You can continue to go along in Romans, and what he's talking about, he's going, the natural branches were broken off so that the church could be grafted in, but do not become arrogant, because he can graft the nation of Israel back into the tree, which is symbolic of salvation. And Rick, here's Ezekiel 37:25. I believe the nation of Israel. People say, well, we're not sure that the nation of Israel, the people that's living in the land right now, are truly descendants of Abraham. Ezekiel 37:25, "They will live in the land I gave to my servant Jacob, the land where your ancestors lived. They and their children and their children's children will live there forever. And David, my servant, will be their prince." David, my servant, will be their prince forever. Who is that? That's Messiah. When will Messiah, David the servant, will be their prince? When will Messiah be prince or rule forever? Starting in the millennium. So it seems like the children of Abraham have to go back to the land so that his servant David will be prince or rule over him. Messiah will be rule over them forever. So if the true children of Abraham are not in the land, who are they? And then where are the children of Abraham? And when are they coming back to the land? I'm sorry, that's just a far cry. For those who say that the people in the land of Israel are not true Israelites, then where are they? They have to be around here for Messiah to fulfill Ezekiel 37:25.
And when you go to the millennium, where is Christ going to rule and reign from?
Yep, of course.
Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, Zion. In Jerusalem. the home of the King in Zion.
So.
People. Oh my goodness, people.
But that's how deceitful Satan is. I mean, he takes God's truth and twists it and undermines it, and he gets people to,
But he needs to do better because it's not even a good con.
Well, it's not,
Not a
but
good con,
to
Kurt.
most people who aren't familiar with the Word of God,
Correct.
it sounds great.
Yeah,
It
it
sounds
does.
great.
It does, but I don't know. I know. I get it. I get how they're twisting it because when Paul does say not all who are Israel is Israel, he's talking in a spiritual sense.
Right.
But at no point does he ever negate the reality of the physical descendants of Abraham. Never does. He never does. So
Israel's here to stay, and
Yep.
they're not going anywhere
forever.
forever.
And when you read those covenants in Genesis 12, Genesis 17, what part of everlasting don't you understand? What part of everlasting don't they understand?
I think that means forever.
I
doesn't it?
think so. I think that's what it means. I think that's what it means.
But the way they change the meaning of language these days,
I know.
they could twist
I know.
that.
I know.
But
All right. Gracias. Those listening, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick, as always.
thank you, Pastor.
Thank you all for listening. Until next time, God bless and let us eagerly look toward the sky from where our help comes from. Till next time.